Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about how to sharpen straight reamers. Now we've done an awful lot of different episodes here on different things to do with different kinds of reamers, but the one thing we haven't touched on is how to just sharpen a good old-fashioned straight reamer. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got a few reamers here, straight fluted reamers, some right-hand HELIX reamers. This would all work, also work fine on a left-hand spiral fluted reamer if that's what you had. None of that matters. All that matters for this to work great for you is that it's an actual straight reamer and not a tapered reamer. So I've just grabbed randomly one of these reamers I have, and this is probably the dullest one of the bunch. We're going to sharpen this guy up in between centers. And centers are probably the least exotic fixture in a tool and cutter grinding shop. So if you're set up at all for any kind of tool and cutter grinding, there's a really good chance you've got some centers to work with. The method we're going to use today for indexing is actually a spring-loaded pointer finger. And this is pretty much recommended because it's going to work just fine regardless of whether or not your teeth on the tool itself are on index. And that's super important. If you have an indexing plate and you go to sharpen something, but the teeth on the tool you're sharpening are not on index, you're just going to have a complete mess. Essentially, one tooth is going to be higher than everybody else. It's going to do all the cutting and it's just going to be gross. So this way here, regardless of whether or not the teeth on the reamer are on index, it's going to work just fine. I've got a smattering of different pointers here, and they're all, I made them all for different reasons. So I've got a high-speed steel pointer, which is really fine, really rigid, and it has a time and a place. I have also some spring steel pointers, which are also nice and rigid and so on, and there's a time and place for them. But because we're going to be dragging this pointer over the lands of our reamer, I'm going to choose to use this aluminum pointer, and this will not mar up the lands on our tool whatsoever. So that's what I'm going to use today. So our first step here is basically just throw the reamer up between centers, make sure it rotates freely. And this is actually a little on the sticky side, so I'm going to give it just a little half a drop oil on either end. You are going to want to make sure you've got a real nice light feel to this because you're going to be indexing it completely by hand. There's no machine or fixture. Nothing's doing this for you. It's all by feel, and the last thing you want is for this to be tight because then you'll be bending your pointer and things can just get stupid. So make sure you have a real nice light feel. Majority of reamers I've come across, this lead-in cutting edge here, this is on a 45-degree angle. But I have seen the odd one that's at a 30-degree angle, so you do want to scrutinize that you're picking up what's there already and you're not changing that, because then you'll just be removing more material than you need to. This one is 45, so I'm going to go ahead and swing the table over to 45 degrees here and lock that down. The clearance angle itself is going to be controlled and set by the rotation of the reamer this way. So I'm just going to really roughly eyeball that kind of somewhere close. And now I'm going to bring in my pointer and get that set up so that I can get this thing dialed right in perfectly. I've got my pointer in there now, touching the face of the tooth that will be the tooth I'm grinding on. Again, super important. You would not want to index off of a different tooth. That could pretty much just lead to disaster. And so I'm going to see that this indexes nicely. It's not binding. When it stops, it's nice and solid. There's no flexing in all of this. That's all going to be important. So now that I'm happy with all of that, I'm going to dial that in and get it bang on. Got my test dial on here, and I'm going to travel up and down with my wheel head, and I'm going to make small adjustments of this micrometer hand wheel here, and I'm going to just keep adjusting it slowly until I get this running perfectly zero, and that way I'll know I'm perfectly recreating the clearance angle that's currently on there. So as I travel up and down with my wheel head here, you can see as I pass across the tooth face, I'm pretty darn close to bang on zero there. And so that's telling me that I'm going to pretty much exactly recreate the cutting angle that's on there originally. I'm setting the height of my wheel now. There's no magic formula to this. Basically, it's a combination of things. You want to be able to pass all the way across the tooth you're cutting, stop shy of hitting your tailstock, and you also don't want to be running into the tooth that's below the one you're working on. So once you've got your wheel at a height that accomplishes all that, you're pretty much good to start going. I'm going to start by running my wheel essentially backwards. What that's going to do is that the grinding pressure of the wheel is going to force the reamer up onto my pointer, and that's just going to ensure that things don't get out of hand on me. Now that will create a little bit of a burr up on the face of the tooth, so when I get ready for finishing, I'll reverse the direction of the wheel, and I'll just be super careful that I don't lose control of the reamer that I'm holding by hand, and that'll knock that burr off just as I take the last half a thou or so off that face of that tooth. Because my wheel's going backwards, I can in-feed, and I don't need to actually be supporting the reamer while I'm in-feeding, because any tool pressure, again, is going to force the face of the tooth up onto my pointer, and I won't have a crash. So I'm just into it there now, and so I'm going to index my way around, take a little lick off of all these teeth. So I'm all the way around. Now, because of this, the way this setup is, I mean, I can show you. I could easily just pop this thing out and take a look at it, see how I'm doing, and I'm actually real happy with what I'm seeing. I'm cleaned up everywhere. Any hint of damage from this corner that does all the work up here is gone. But now I can throw that back in and nothing will have moved on me. So as I mentioned, I'm going to reverse my wheel. I'm just going to take another half a thou pass, and this time around I'm going to be very careful to really hang on to that reamer so that it can't get out of hand on me. So there we're all the way around. I know that all my teeth are at exactly the same height now. And so I'm going to do a final check before I take that out of there. And I'm going to make good and sure that the leading cutting edge of the tooth is indeed higher than any of the trailing edges behind. I'm disengaging my little pointer. I'm going to rotate the reamer counterclockwise so that the stylus is coming towards the cutting edge, and you can see it's going plus, and there it is maxed out. And then as I rotate clockwise, it's going minus, 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 and I know I have clearance all the way, and so that is good to go. So here we are, all nice and sharp and cleaned up all the way. Any hint of damage is good and gone. And this guy is ready to go back to work. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Again, this will work on any straight reamer, regardless of straight flute, left-hand helix, right-hand helix, diameter. None of that matters. On a bigger diameter, you might get into a situation where you need to put a secondary clearance on, but you can check that at the end, same as we did with your dial, your test dial, just to make sure that your cutting edge is indeed the highest point during the rotation. And so, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you guys in the next one.